Welcome to the 25th Annual Louise McBee Lecture at the University of Georgia. Louise McBee has been a true pioneer in advancing issues in higher education forward. And year after year, this lecture series not only celebrates what she has done for the University of Georgia, but it also brings individuals together to talk about the future of higher education.
When Louise came to UGA in 1963, it was not common for women to be in senior leadership positions, but over the next 25 years, she really rose through the ranks. She was Dean of Women, she was Associate Dean of Students, and then Dean of Students. She served as the Assistant Vice President for Instruction. She served as the Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, and then she was the Senior Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. McBee and Dean William Tate were largely credited for helping UGA avoid the violence that was present on many other campuses during the 60s and 70s.
Every relationship between the university and student was tested in that period between the 60s and the 70s. In my opinion, there will be no 2 decades in, at least to this point, in higher education that have been, where there have been more changes between the relationship of the institution to the student.
She had a very good sense of academic values about what was right and what was wrong, what we needed to do, but she also had enormous credibility inside the university community.
I'm very honored to be the holder of a professorship where it's named for such an outstanding woman as Louise McBee. Louise would want us to keep going forward and trying to change things so that there is a continued expanded role for women in higher education. And the first thing she would say is, well, they only get 92 cents on the dollar, and I would want them to get the whole dollar.
Louise always said education is job one. She said that education is to the state of Georgia as defense is to the federal government. So she thought that and believed and always advocated that the success of Georgia was dependent upon the success of its flagship institution and the other institutions across the system.
And when she retired, one of my dear recollections is the red and black headline that said, "Beloved Vice President retires." Now, I would challenge anybody to find in a student newspaper anywhere in the country where a vice president is called beloved.
The traits that made her successful as a university administrator, being a good listener, being collegial, being respectful of other people, being really smart about the issues, are exactly the traits that would be transferable to the political world.
In the General Assembly, she was looked upon with great respect and great deference, to be quite frank with you. It doesn't surprise me at all that she ran 5 times unopposed. Who would run against Louise McBee and have any hope of being elected?
The teachers in this state had never had credit for unused sick leave, which means a day a month for all the time you work. And so I that was one of the first things I began to work on. It was very expensive to do, but I finally got it done. But that was one of the bills that I was the proudest of.
Well, you just can't tell Louise no. And I told her, I said, you get it passed, I'll sign it. When Louise McBee spoke, everybody listened.
You knew that you were in the presence of someone great when you spent time with Louise McBee. She took time to combine the personal with the professional, and so I think that's one reason that Louise has meant so much to so many of us all through the years. She took a very holistic approach to her mentoring and to her caring, and I want to personally say thank you to her for all that she has done for me and other women at UGA and across the state.